She's a life coach, a family therapist, a radio talk show host, and has authored a number of great books. She is Ashley Berges, and we're glad to have her here with us today. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Absolutely.
I love what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you.
It.
Thank you so much. And certainly I'm appreciative of all the work that you're doing. That's why you're here today.
Thank you. God bless you. I'm so glad. No, you're awesome. You always have this amazing content. You create some wonderful stuff, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're making me blush. As we get into you and your things that you're doing, let's first of all tell the folks exactly who is Ashley Berges.
Wow.
It's always that trick question. Huh?
Sorry, folks. Sorry. Okay. No. Well, first off, I'm an authentic person, and that's really something that I've worked to cultivate my whole life. And I'm a writer. I'm an author. I'm a therapist. I'm also a life coach. I'm a syndicated talk show host. I'm a human being. I'm married. I have a family. I have a dog named Buddy. When it comes down to it, me as Ashley is someone that just really cares about helping other people, but I also care about helping other people understand where other people are coming from, because I think that's the thing that I don't know, that's the thing that kind of holds a lot of people back, I think, right now, because they say, why is this person doing this, or why is this happening to me? And if you can help people understand why things are happening, it really just allows them to kind of blossom, you know?
Man. You know what? You checked me right into it, because I wanted to start off talking about your keen understanding of the human condition. I mean, again, as being a family therapist, a life coach, your radio program, Perspectives, I mean, you really, as in reviewing all of your material, you really seem to have a good pulse on where we are in terms of our human condition and existence. So I guess the question for you would be, what led you down this road of getting this level of understanding?
Wow, good question, Chris. I think the biggest thing is when I was born, I was born with a condition that nobody understood. And it was a rough childhood. I was in the hospital about 300 days out of 365 a year. I had blood transfusions done. The doctors didn't know what was going on, and then eventually they started doing surgeries, and these were just experimental surgeries. Almost died on the table a couple times. Life was kind of tough, and I never understood what I had because they didn't understand it, so there was no identity for that. There was no definition. There was no, check, oh, you have that, and you go, okay, well, it might not be that great, but at least I have a name for it.
Right.
And so I was raised that whole way, and I knew that I had no consistency. I didn't know if I was going to be here the next day. And the one thing that I learned from that is that you have to use every day and live every day as an awesome day. But the big thing is that I got to know people, and I respected and I loved living that way. And that's why I understand my clients, that's why I understand listeners, and that's why I understand the people around me, because I feel how they feel. I have a lot of empathy, but a lot of compassion.
Yeah, because you had to navigate your own path to get to where you are now.
Exactly.
After going through all of that you went through. Now we have to back up a moment and help listeners and viewers to understand, what exactly was it you were diagnosed with?
I was diagnosed with a venous lymphatic malformation. It's a second lymphatic system. I have two lymphatic systems at all times, so there's a problem with it because one doesn't really always know that the other one's supposed to be there. Yeah. Because one was supposed to take its place. And so that's kind of an elementary way of talking about it, but in the process it's like you have something fighting itself inside of you all the time. And so when I figured out, okay, wait a second, does this always have to be a blessing? Does it always have to be a curse, or can it be a blessing?
Man, and like you talked about it being a blessing, not only has it been a blessing for you, but it's been a blessing to thousands of countless people that you have had the opportunity to, help in life coaching in terms of your practice that you have in terms of family practitioner. That's great work. I actually had the opportunity to review it. And one of the things I found let's just take through some of the steps that you have in the book. Day 1, fundamental knowledge and tools for using your time and energy wisely. Again, great stuff. Day 2, you give us the knowledge, tools, and skills to properly deal with the negative energy suckers in our lives. Negative energy suckers. When you said that one, and I got that one, I was like, it just jumped off the page. A couple of names came to mind.
I know.
Day 8 provides the knowledge of conscious mind versus the subconscious mind and the part they both play in our life. Talk about it. Again, you take us through 10 days of giving us these principles to apply into our lives to, again, live our true life. Talk about how this book came to be.
Wow, good. I love this question. Okay, so this book came to be, it's my third, and I wrote it from personal experience, and I wrote it from personal experience in motion and personal experience once I imparted that to other people, and they actually had their experience. because I wanted to make sure this is not a one-time thing. And everybody was like, oh my gosh. They were like, I would talk to my clients and I'd say, hey, how is your boundaries?
Yeah.
What do you mean? And I'd be like, boundaries?
Yeah.
What kind of boundaries? And I was like, boundaries with your family, your friends. They're like, well, what does that mean? I go, well, a lot of us have like these blurred lines of boundaries. Like friendship can be one thing and it can kind of mean something else, and it can be work and it can be all this stuff. And I said, but you're never going to get what you want out of that because you haven't defined the relationship.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are too scared to put those fundamentals down because they say, what if somebody doesn't like me? Because we're all people pleasers at heart.
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah.
Well, remember when you were a kid and you're riding your tricycle, you're riding your bike, and I remember doing this, and you're riding your bike and your parents had just taken off your training wheels. And you were just like, I'm going to show them how great I am.
Right.
And I remember going down the street and I go, Mom, Dad, no hands. And I put my hands up, and I almost fell into the curb, But they didn't even look. Like one person, like my dad was turning his back to me, and my mom was talking to the neighbor. So I had to redo that all over again. It was like reenactment.
You had to show them that you could do it.
Right.
With no hands,
And think about it. That's people pleasing because we want to impress people. We want to please them. And so in order to get out of that feeling and fundamental need to people please, one of the biggest things we have to do is boundaries. Because once we start placing boundaries, guess what? You stop necessarily pleasing people, but guess what? People start respecting you. And if they don't respect you, they'll just exit stage right.
See, and that's the type of practical wisdom, like, again, just helping someone to understand that you have to have boundaries in your relationships. I mean, that's the type of wisdom that's packed in that book there.
Well, and a lot of stuff is really common sense, but again, it goes against our teachings as a child, right? So as a child, we're supposed to color in that line. How do you color the sky? You color it blue, right?
Right.
If you color it green, the teacher's like, Chris, okay, we're going to have to go over this again. The sky's blue. And you go, but I like green.
Now you have the ground in the sky,
Right, but you're like, I like green. I thought this is I'm allowed to be cool and interesting and thoughtful and creative. And they're like, no, Chris, it's blue. And so I think we go through that process when we're young.
Yes.
We adapt to it, and we want to please everybody, want everybody to love us and like us. But a lot of times I realize if you live that way, your life is not going to be that happy. People are going to walk over you, and at the same time, you don't have value within yourself. Because when we people please all the time, we forget that we have value. We forget that we need to love ourselves, and we also forget to show ourselves love because we're too busy out there being the center of attention.
Yeah, man.
And that's the key, and that's what this book is really about, is finding your own self-love, loving yourself unconditional, and guess what happens then? When you do that, then other people will, but until you do that, nobody can. And all those relationships in your life are either going to be predicated on bad boundaries, on non-working boundaries, or they're going to be predicated on something besides true, real love, no strings attached.
Man, that's good stuff. The 10-day challenge to live your true life. We're going to talk more with Ashley in just a moment. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Dominique Howell with Howell Consulting Group, a Dallas-based boutique consulting firm focused on helping healthcare organizations optimize their revenue cycle operations. I know that we are going through a huge game changer in healthcare. So CFOs, if you are in need of a healthcare consulting firm to help you optimize your revenue cycle, help with your cash acceleration project, or manage the impacts of ICD-10, please consider Howell Consulting Group. Our contact number is 214-760-1211.
With overwhelming options in urgent care medicine, CityDoc Urgent Care Center stands out, providing quality, convenient, and cutting-edge medical care, delivered by a skilled and compassionate staff, award-winning, accredited, highly trained health professionals, and a comfortable yet efficient state-of-the-art facility. In and out in about an hour. Conveniently located in your community. Welcome to CityDoc, where you need us, when you need us. Welcome back. We've been having a great discussion with family therapist and life coach Ashley Berges. Ashley, we want to talk to you now, of course, as we get into the holiday season. For many folks, it's a great time of year. Everyone looks forward to it. It's the opportunity to spend time with families and friends that you haven't seen since the last holiday season. But there's another side of the population that it's not such a great time for them because they don't have some of those things. Maybe it's their first holiday season without a particular loved one, something of that nature. Let's talk about that a little bit. First and foremost, I guess, for those who do embrace this time, talk about the importance of being able to come together with family and how that is healthy for us.
Well, you're right. Holiday season, it's very interesting because there's a lot of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
The holidays bring out a lot of emotions, and that's why it can be very interesting. It can be very wonderful. It can be very depressing for some. But you're right. When you're able to spend time with family, and what I was kind of laughing about before is you got a lot of people that just don't get along with their family that well. They're all there, but they just don't really connect. And
they're in their little cliques. One is over that side of the room, the other side of the room, that type of thing.
Yeah, and there's a little water under the bridge here and there. And I've talked about that, like the different personalities, and you got the showboater, and you got the person that's always talking about, their latest, the house they bought, the boat they bought. You got there's all these different little groups of people. And if you're dealing with that kind of thing, what I do share with my clients is just try to set that back.
Yeah.
Try to let that go. I mean, it's small potatoes. I mean, there's bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you got to just embrace the fact that some people are going to be like that. And it's okay, because that's who they are, and it's fine, because we don't want to try to change them, but we want to try to have fun with them while they're there.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of y'all, listening, you have family that you really love, and some of you might have family that gets on your everlasting nerve. But it's about spending that time and making those memories. And I think putting yourself out there in a way that you're just like, no strings attached, just love and sending out the love. Like, all you need is love, right?
Yeah.
And I think, all you need is love, da 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 da. And if you think about
Listen
it
to that all the way over there,
right? And if you think about that, you go, well, you know what? This is good. The holidays are good, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to feel good about it.
Yes.
And you know what? You are the only one that controls you.
That's true.
Right? You're the only one that controls your emotions, your feelings. And so if you walk in there and you go, hey, I'm Chris, or hey, I'm Ashley, and I love people, and I'm unconditional, and no matter what happens, I'm going to be like a bird. And you know how birds are when they get into little arguments, like on the pond, they just flap their little wings or their tail feather and they let it go. I mean, think about it. So it's like, if you have to walk outside, if you have to pace around, whatever you have to do, let it go.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And you know what? You can actually kind of find some humor in it too.
Yeah.
Because at least you got family to argue with. At least you got that family to argue with. At least you got that family member that you just go, oh my gosh, if it isn't her again doing this. But you can sit there and say, you know what? It wouldn't be the holidays without her doing this.
Man, that's good.
I
like that.
I like that, because then it's funny. But also, you can relate to it and you just let it be.
Yeah. Okay, that's good stuff. I couldn't help but laugh, though, when you talked about the birds, because I consider myself to be pretty observant. But now I'm going to have to sit and watch the birds do the little wing and the flat tail feather winging.
Because like when they're on the lake and they're like, and they're trying to move the other ducks away, and the duck's like, oh, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, and they get so angry. What's it tell is the feathers, and then they fly away. But
you
then
sit there and really watch these battles, don't you?
Yes. I know, it's.
You need to be
can find me
working
at a
more.
park bench. You can find me at a park bench anywhere around the area.
No, we're having a good time. But as we are having a good time, again, as we alluded to earlier, there are some of those folks who may not have such a good time during the holiday season. But this year, we want that to be different. One of the things you're always great at is offering solutions. We understand there may be various reasons why folks are depressed during the holiday season, but you've got some solutions. Let's talk about some of the things that you suggest to your clients to do when they're not at their best during the holiday season.
And I understand, Chris, it's important because, when we lose our family, when we lose a spouse, even if you lose a child, I mean, it happens. That can be very stressful, and it's wild because just yesterday, before we came in here, I had a friend of mine lose her husband, and her kids are grown and they don't live around here, and so it's going to be very difficult right now. And what I've already suggested is to really look outside of yourself. And what I mean is that we play a lot in the mind, and we have a lot of broken records that go in our mind. We're not really focusing on it, especially after a loss. It's like we can't think past it. And like what I tell my clients is normally you can't think of more than 2 or 3 thoughts at a time. That's why you have to write a list, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to the grocery store and you go, well, I need Clorox bleach and I need bread and I need milk and everything, you're going to remember those 3 and you're going to probably forget the others. Mm-hmm. So if you got this going through your head, I'm upset, I'm depressed, I can't believe I have to live and do this on my own, it's really hard. And so one of my advices that works almost every time, and I've seen it work, and I even have video footage of this, is going outside of yourself and doing something for other people.
Yeah, that's good.
think above it, because a lot of times, yes, we've lost our loved one, and it's awful, and it's sad, and yes, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. That's the first thing. It's okay to be sad. But the best way to get out of being sad is, what can I do to help other people? And I've had people go to the soup kitchen, fix meals, be able to be there, even reading to some of the kids, helping people that are in homeless shelters that don't have options.
Yeah.
That, to me, is when you go, okay, I might be sad, but I'm going to go help somebody. And the feeling that you get is so awesome. It's so, like, invigorating and powerful, and you feel so good about yourself that it's hard to really stay sad.
Yeah. Because now you've taken that energy, rather than taking this energy and internalizing it and thinking about how things are so bad, you're now taking that energy to make a difference in someone else's life.
Most definitely.
Yeah, sort of like you did. I mean, and when you went through the situation with your birth defect or what have you, you now took that and turned that around, and now today you're changing countless lives.
It's amazing. And when you go out and do that, and I know that it can be hard, and I know some people out there might be saying, Ashley, well, this just happened. Yeah. But what I advise is that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel upset. It's okay to feel lonely. One thing you might want to start doing as well is journaling. Journaling helps us get our ideas on paper, but when you start journaling and you start opening up and you also start engaging your friends again, because your friends are there. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times friends are scared. They just want you to pick up the phone. If you pick up the phone, they're going to be on that other line. They might be scared to get into your area, get into your time, in your mind space, but your friends are there. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing too. And I think, Chris, I think we talked about this one time where it's like sometimes your friends want to invite you, want to do stuff with you, but also, better yet, what if you created an event?
Yeah.
I mean, think about the power of Facebook. I mean, I know all of us we like the children's pictures, and we like to see so-and-so's pictures, and we like the little jokes and the little dog with the little baby or the cat with the child. And you're like, oh, gosh, look at that little dog with a baby. But you could put something up there and say, hey, I'm having a thing. Friends, anybody come by. Yeah. It's a potluck dinner. It's a potluck lunch, and everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
You don't know how many people are alone for the holidays, and just pray to see something like that as a Facebook update.
Yeah. So throw a party.
Yeah.
Throw a party. Go out and help someone that's in a homeless shelter, something of that nature. Or certainly go and throw a party and have friends come over to you and be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Create an environment. It's got to be a party environment, though. I mean, we can't have the shades drawn and we're wearing all black and things of that nature. It's still got to be a party. If you're going to invite me over, making sure it's a party, okay?
Don't invite me over there and be like, oh, sad. No, but seriously, when you invite people over there, and that's going to bring up your spirits, and you're going to also help other people they don't even know are going through problems.
So there again, you're helping someone else.
Yeah.
Take it off of yourself and think about how you could actually make a difference in someone else's life. So this party could actually be of great benefit to yourself and countless others.
And you could do both. So I know people that actually volunteer in the morning and of certain holidays, and then they turn around and they have a party at night.
Man.
And you even can get that same group with you of people that have lost their relatives, have lost their spouse, don't have a spouse, their kids are gone, they're empty nesters, they don't have children. Get that whole group to even do a whole day thing with you, where you start in the morning and you volunteer and everybody feels good about themselves, so it's okay to have a party after.
There you go. So again, that's some practical ways in which you can make a difference in your holiday as well as the holiday of someone else. So take those tips from Ashley Berges and do apply those. Ashley, as we get prepared to close here, I guess you're doing a number of things. You've got the book, you've got the radio show, you've got podcast. I mean, what's new and exciting coming up for Ashley Berges that we need to tell folks about?
Wow, new and exciting. Yay. Well, let's see, what do we have going on here? We have some talks going on, trying to expand the show into some different cities like Colorado Springs, San Francisco, Chicago, Atlanta, some places like that.
Yes.
Working on that, so that's kind of good. Working on another book.
Yes.
So I have another book in the works.
Helping us in another way, huh?
Yes.
Can you give us any insight in terms of...
I can actually tell you the title of it and tell you what it's about.
Sure.
Okay, the title of it is called At Peace, so it's the @ at peace, and it actually explains how to find personal internal peace within yourself. How to figure out, not only through, people always give you these lofty meditation, everything, you go, oh, well, what am I supposed to do with that? I actually explain how to find that peace, how you can do it on a daily basis, how you can continue that peace every single minute of your day, how to help other people with it, how to help your kids with it, your family, your friends or coworkers. Some people that are really out of sorts, and they kind of push you out of sorts too, and you go, oh gosh, I was in a great mood until I showed up here. Everything was great until you started yelling at me,
Yeah.
And so it really helps people find peace and happiness, but also inner worth. Because I think a lot of us, because when I went through my situation as a kid, right, one of the things when they couldn't figure out what I had wrong with me, I felt like worthless.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us feel that way because we don't feel perfect, or somebody else is better looking, or somebody else seems to be smarter, or somebody went to Harvard and you didn't go to Harvard, whatever it might be. It could be a lot of things. This book will help you find your self-worth, and it'll help you help find your kids' self-worth, help them identify it, help your spouse, but better yet, it's going to help you find that internal love and put your finger on the pulse of being able to love everybody, and all the arguments are just kind of almost like a dramatic reenactment. Because I figured out how to distance yourself so much from petty arguments that you realize, and you can kind of see the humor already in it, and you can actually see the humor on your side too. And it's almost when you respond, you're almost laughing.
Man, okay.
So, because I want everybody to figure this peace thing out, because once you figure that out, everything else is perfect.
Yeah.
Because when you're at peace, guess what? People come to you in a totally different manner.
That's true.
They react to you differently.
Man, at peace.
You know what I'm saying? You calm them down.
Right.
It's great.
Okay, so that one's coming next year.
Yes.
Okay, at peace. We'll be looking for that. In closing, to that person who maybe, again, have enjoyed our conversation, but may feel like, again, I'm still struggling just a little bit in terms of how do I actually live my true life? How do they get to that point? If you could just speak to that person, take a few moments just to speak to that person. One of the things we always like to do is offer practical ways in which folks can move beyond where they are.
My words at this point in time would be to begin by seeing yourself as your higher self. And I think a lot of people don't realize this, but you have this higher self within you that has a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And it's what people call your soul. It's what people call your internal self. It's kind of the God within. And once you realize that you have that within you, you begin to let go of the things that hold you back. And a lot of the things that are holding you back right now are self-induced. And what I'm saying is that I've done it too. I've been there. I've done that. I've drank. I've done all kinds of stuff where I've put myself last, and I didn't realize what I was doing to myself internally. And once I realized that, I was able to start respecting myself and start respecting my body as a temple. But I even went a step further, and I realized my value. And once you certainly realize that value within you, just start a little bit and realize I'm a valuable person. And positive note, as well as I have like a little thing on my mirror in my bathroom, and it has affirmation, and it says, I am healthy, I am intelligent, I am love, I am light. And when you start realizing that and start saying that over and over again, a mantra, and I have mantras that I've written out that are on my website, I have some that are written down for clients as well. When you repeat that over and over again, you start realizing it, you start believing it. And the biggest thing that the last part is this. You are you, and you impact everybody in a way that nobody can. You do one thing better than everybody in the entire world. And that's what you need to figure out how to do, because once you figure that out, you figured out your purpose. And that's what's so amazing, because you do something that I can't do that well, that Chris can't do that well, that nobody can do that well. Once you figure that out and hone in on it, you've begun to figure out your purpose. But the only way to find that is to actually begin to love yourself.
You do that the only way you can. Ashley Berges, thank you so much. Our conversation today has been with life coach, family therapist, and radio talk show host Ashley Berges. I really hope that you received some information today that you can immediately apply to your life to move beyond where you are. I'm Chris Howell. Thanks for watching.